Let's go. What's up, guys? I'm Michael Augusta. You might know me on Instagram for my car photography and my unique edits. You might think you need a high-end camera like a Canon R5 or a Sony A7R Mark IV or some other DSLR to achieve amazing results. But I personally shot photos of cars with my iPhone 11. It's just the base model. It's only got the 2 cameras. And a lot of people thought they were shot on a DSLR. And let's be honest, cell phones these days are becoming so advanced, even studios are shooting some movies or Netflix shows on iPhones. You don't need the greatest equipment to take really awesome photos. You just need to know the right settings and the right scenarios to make the most out of your image. Now, before we continue, I want you to take a second and subscribe and follow me on Instagram, where I continue to post my work. All right, some things to consider. Before we start shooting, I want you to start thinking, what do I want to do with this image? Do I want to manipulate it, like adjust the tones, adjust the lighting, put in some fake lighting in Photoshop or Lightroom, or enhance something about the vehicle? Or are you happy with the settings right now? Like, are you happy with that, or do you want more? That's something you need to think about. In this type of tutorial, I'm doing more of a shoot to edit type of setting. I'm basically gonna get the exposure the way I want it to, and then I will adjust the lighting and tones to the way I want them to be. And this is where we get into settings. iPhone 12 Pros and up are able to shoot in Apple RAW, which will give you the most flexibility while editing your photos. If your phone is unable to shoot in RAW, you can actually download a third-party app, Moment for example. That's what I'll be using in this tutorial. And with that, you'll get manual controls, which I'll get into in a minute. I'm going to encourage you to shoot RAW over and over again, but when is it okay to shoot JPEG? Again, I'm encouraging to shoot RAW. But let's say you're in a hurry and this goes back to what you want out of this image. Let's say the conditions are the way you want them to, and you don't plan on doing some serious editing, because the camera apps do actually take a minute to set up to the exposure the way you want it. But if you are happy with the conditions and you don't plan on doing anything serious, go ahead, use the native camera app in JPEG, go ahead, fire away. As far as settings for manual control, you will be able to adjust shutter speed, ISO, and focus. As far as shutter speed goes, the faster you set it, the faster the shutter closes, and the slower you set your shutter speed, the longer the shutter stays open, which allows more light to come in and hit the sensor. And with that comes risk for motion blur, because let's say your subject is giving off light or reflecting light, or if the camera moves, you will increase the chance of getting a blurry image. In daylight conditions, your shutter speed should not be under 1/100th of a second, unless you're going for a long exposure or shooting a video using the 180-degree method, which those deserve videos by themselves. And as far as ISO goes, the higher you have it, the more sensitive the sensor is to light, and with that introduces risk of grain and noise in the image. So ideally keep the ISO low as possible. And as far as focus goes, if you have to adjust it manually, just make sure the subject is sharp and it stands out, because the last thing you want is a subject that's out of focus, unless you're trying to go for the subject out of focus and the background's sharp, because that's actually a popular trend on Instagram now. When trying out these settings, the important thing is to make sure you got the exposure on the subject the way you want it to be. It's better to have it slightly underexposed, like between one stop and near perfect exposure, because it's easier to bring back the shadows than it is to lower the highlights, because most of the time you will just lose data in the highlights. Alright, now for vehicle and location. What type of vehicle are you shooting? Are you shooting a sports car, an SUV, a pickup truck? This is important to know because you want to pick out a location that's going to suit the vehicle, because you do not want to take a Ferrari and put it by a construction zone or construction site, or a off-road trail, because that's more suited to a pickup truck because they are advertised for off-road, and yeah, Ferraris are not meant for that. And for this tutorial, I will be shooting my personal car, a 2011 GMC Terrain. But since my car is an SUV, I can get away with most environments. So throughout this tutorial, we'll shoot at a couple different locations, and yeah, we'll see what we come up with. Also, it's important to plan out what time of the day you plan to shoot. I tend to shoot for sunrise or sunset because you get the best lighting, and because of the sun at its low angle, the shadows are more contrasted and it makes it look more beautiful, moody, and appealing, interesting. And also, if the light is dim enough, feel free to turn on exterior lights and see what you can come up with. And I am a sucker for lens flares, as you can see. Alright, for key angles, the most popular angle for shooting a car is called the 3/4 angle, which is basically between the headlight and the wheel, or the tail light and the wheel. And this is popular because it shows off the angle, pretty much the whole body of the car in one shot. And this is popular in magazines, new car reveals, or for product commercial shooting. And also try other angles that show off the car, anything that's unique about the car, like body lines. If it's a sports car, it's probably going to have more aggressive lines. You'll definitely want to show those off, and try and get some lower angles, because for a smaller car, it will definitely make it look more aggressive and bold. For a truck, you're probably going to want to keep it around chest level or maybe eye level. Also, this is important if you're trying to shoot the car for commercial purposes. You would want to get anything unique about the car, like for navigation, backup camera, sunroofs, power switches, like heated and cool seats. Yeah, because as a person that's looking to buy a car, they'd probably want to know that and see it for themselves. As far as creativity goes, that's completely up to you. Make sure you find anything unique about the car, the badges, the wheels, interior shots, ambient lighting, the stitching in the seats, and also take in the environment as well. Look for any foreground elements like trees, rocks, or bushes. And also you can use it to frame the vehicle. Like let's say you're shooting by a hilly road with like these curves. You can go out to the trees and shoot the car through a bunch of trees to help frame the vehicle. And you can do that with almost anything. As far as framing and composition, that's there to help your creativity. Feel free to explore. And also, to add on to compositions, look for leading lines like a road, for example, or a fence or building that helps lead your eyes towards the car. And another thing for composition, I'd like to talk about the rule of thirds. Your phone should be able to pop up. You basically get these grid lines that look like a tic-tac-toe board. They are divided into thirds. I personally use it to help level out my shot. Let's say I have a subject facing this way. I would put the subject over side of the frame, because if you have it like this, it's just gonna look weird. As far as the rule of thirds, it's just a general rule of thumb. You can really dive into it, really use it to your creativity. Just shoot around, experiment, and see how you like it.
You get mad when I ask what you're doing. Got me up all night, just feeling stupid. If you're wondering where you are and why we play this same game every other weekend, with my heart in the palm of your hand, tear it all apart.
Alright guys, we're at the Blue Water Bridge. We have my car right here. Obviously we can see we got a composition going on. We got some leading lines that will support the subject. And also the railroad track. And right now I'm gonna open up the camera app Moment, because again, we want the most control out of the image. We want to shoot to edit. I'll just start the screen recording. All right guys, you just take a minute, look around, angle it the way you want it to. Set up your shutter speed. And again, preferably keep your ISO low. I'm doing the classic 3/4 angle shot. Shoot underexposed because shadows are more forgiving than highlights. And then tilt your phone upside down. Your phone will auto adjust. You can even just shoot like this. And it doesn't have to stop at the 3/4 angle. You can go up to anything significant about the vehicle, like badges, wheels, or if the car has it, colored calipers. You definitely want to show off the vehicle as much as you can in its own unique way. And obviously, when you're this close up, add some background. Again, use the rule of thirds if necessary. And also get low, add some angle to the vehicle. And adjust your exposure if necessary.
This is just so typical. I'm sick of love. I never say enough to run.
I think that wraps it up right here. I'll see you guys back at the studio. All right, before we wrap up, I actually have some homework for you. I want you to take what you learned today and I want you to go out there and experiment. And I want you to go onto Instagram and post it. I want you to use the hashtag MagustaPics, and I want you to tag me in it under @magusta.media. I am really looking forward to seeing what you guys come up with. But yeah, that's gonna be it for today. Keep a lookout for the next video. It's gonna cover editing on your mobile phone. And yeah, if you haven't yet, please hit subscribe and turn on bell notifications. That way you'll know when the next video comes out. And if you enjoyed watching this, please do me a favor. Hit like, because it does make a difference. And feel free to leave a comment. But yeah, that's gonna be it for me today. I hope you guys have a good one, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace. And in daylight conditions, your shutter speed shouldn't be anything lower than 1/100th. And for daylight conditions, your shutter speed should not be any lower than 1/100th. 100th of a second. It should not be any lower than 1/100th of 100th.